Global Book Network. I'm Zach Feldman. Thanks so much for tuning in here on globalbooknetwork.tv and on our YouTube channel. Joining us right now, he is an author of a brand new book called St. Thomas Magic Academy. And I'm really excited to talk to him. It's Robert Castleberry. Robert, thanks so much for joining me here. How's everything going?
Going good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Tell me all about this new mystical book that just came out.
Of course. So it's actually the second book in the series. The first one is called The Name of Grey, which kind of is the backstory that starts leading up to it. But the second book is really the main one that starts the new content and everything. I didn't want to write the whole series and then do like, oh, here's what happened before. So that's kind of where the first book came from. Now
Yeah.
this one is the one where it really starts getting going. So it's really about this kid who is kind of a mirror of all the struggles and stuff I went through growing up in the Catholic school system and just in life in general. I've always wanted to tell my story to inspire people that, no matter what, how they get through, no matter what struggles you go through, because I've been through a plethora of them, that, you can get stuff done and to achieve. So I'm writing the main character more through a fictional story than just an autobiography.
Yeah, you did it in a way where it wasn't just a straight story about your life. You did this in a way where, you added some mystical fantasy into it, and kind of made this more of a creative story than it was just a tell-all piece. Did that
Mhm.
make that more comfortable for you to write this book about yourself?
Um, Honestly, every time for the past couple of years that I was trying to, tell my story and share it, I would sit down to write those autobiographies and I would just stare at the paper and have no idea where to go with it because, like, I could just write it down verbatim, but then it's only like a page, and I'm like, I need it more. I just didn't know how to express it that non-fictional. And, I grew up loving fantasy, and I mean, that's what I read all the time. So it actually came to me in a dream one day, and I just woke up and I just started writing, and it just materialized. And that's how the character was created. And then I created the whole world universe of what's going on. So.
Yeah, you created the St. Thomas, Magical Academy. Magic Academy, excuse me. I mean, tell me about kind of creating this world. Where was your inspiration for it?
So the inspiration for it, I mean, if you really go back, I mean, my previous interviews I've had, they've talked like, oh, it reminds me of Harry Potter. I was like, well, kind of sort of like that, but it's set in modern times. So the character was born in 1994 when I was born, so I've kind of used um, the world of as it is, just throwing in that magic piece and stuff. So when you're reading that, I mean, I'm talking about real people, real places,
Mhm.
of what's going on, of based on my life and everything else, and my plethora of learning and knowledge and research that I do of other places.
I mean,
So
you've also been through so much. I mean, obviously, we're talking about the Magic Academy in the book, but obviously, you're talking about Catholic school in your real life. Of the
mhm.
struggles you went through. What were some of the real big struggles that you were facing?
So I was severely bullied from about second grade all the way through senior year. So you're talking about 10 years with that. Um, and being in the school system that I was in and where my socioeconomic class was compared to my fellow classmates wasn't on par. So, it was just like, oh, he's, bottom of the class. He's
Hmm.
dyslexic, dysgraphic. I had learning disabilities growing up, so I wasn't the top item of the class, when we're trying to be Catholic and bring everyone in and we're all in the image of Jesus Christ. Well, that's not how it was for me. So I had a lot of struggles growing up with that, and then obviously getting older, it getting worse, and then being part of the LGBTQ community myself and growing up in the Catholic Church was not really a lot there. So
Not
like,
a great combination, I
yeah,
guess, to say.
not a great. I'm feeling this way. You're being taught that I'm gonna go here, and so I was like, ugh. So I really struggled with who I was. Um,
But that's not to say too, there are Catholic organizations out there who do accept LGBTQ.
Correct.
There are churches that do accept LGBTQ people, and there are churches that are more progressive.
Mhm.
Obviously, the school wasn't in
No,
that way. But I mean, did you go here because of your parents? Like, what was your reasoning of going to this school?
I mean it's where my mom worked. So I mean, and then growing up Catholic, I mean that's just the Catholic school system is where um, I went. And then I mean in middle school when I was going through a lot of one of my big bullying spurts, we actually looked into moving me to public school system. But with my learning disabilities and all the struggles that I had when I got tested, they're like, oh, well, he would be at the top of the class. So then my parents were like, well, we don't need that if he'll be the top with all my struggles that I was having. So I stayed in. And, we did with it what we did. And then the second time that I almost got out was when I went to my senior year. I was going to go to the public schools, but then I got elected as student body president. Turned out to be, the whole carry joke type thing. So by the time I really wanted to get out, I had a semester left of my senior year, and my parents like, just stick it out and do it. And I did. I survived, obviously.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did. I mean, a lot of people go through some really traumatic stuff. I mean, I know when I was in school, I went through bullying, everything in between, including also having a learning disability too myself. I mean, it's a hard struggle to go through in school. If you don't have the right resources, it's not gonna have you're not gonna have a good time at all. And
Correct.
that's kind of where I found for me creativity. And
Mhm.
for you, I assume the same as well.
Yeah, it really started with, my escape was into books. I mean, it used to take me forever to read a book, but I still enjoyed, escaping into the world because it helped me deal with, whatever stuff I'd gone through during the day or the struggles that I was having in my mind. Because I actually ended up going to the mental hospital my sophomore year of college because of all the trauma that I had gotten. My body had built up a defense. And then I mean, my world flipped a 360 when I went off to college. Things were great. And so my body was like, was shocked
Yeah.
and stuff. And I processed trauma later. But that's when I really, dove into books to deal with stuff, connecting to characters. So over the years, just all that reading and then wanting to get my story out there somehow, some way. And then it was in the midst of me working on my dissertation where
And what better way to dive into your trauma than to write a book about it, and not only write
exactly,
one book,
right?
but write two books about it. I
Yes.
mean, and what a rewarding time that must have been for you too. The fact that you're able to finally get it out there. When it was fine, obviously when the series was finally released, the Asher Grey Chronicles. I mean, were you just relieved? What was the feeling like?
Well, the first one, I was like, I've never done this before, I'm gonna have a published book, which was really surreal for me coming from where I was as a student and people telling me that I wouldn't be good for anything. And I'm like, here I am proving everyone and their mom wrong, that no matter what you go through, if you work hard, you persevere, which is going to be related to, Asher throughout the two books that are out and the ones that are to come, and that you can do stuff. You just have to set your mind to it and persevere and don't let people drag you down, because I think in my case, when people try to drag me down, I was like, no. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna show you that I can do this regardless. And just being that inspiration of, you can be down at the dumps, but you can break that cycle and become whoever you want to be.
Well, and it's such a good thing because not only did you, I guess beat the odds in a sense, of people who've survived the Catholic school trauma when they're born part of the LGBTQ community, but also you survived to tell it and to be able to let it out to the whole world to be able to see. I mean, that's such a proud moment for you.
Hmm. It really is. I mean, and people are really shocked when, I start talking about my story and things, because like, oh, you're so successful, you have a doctorate degree now, you have two published books, soon to be three. Like, that's just amazing. And then I'm like, yeah, but I'm, severely dyslexic, dysgraphic. I mean, I couldn't read on a first grade level until the fifth grade. And I teach fifth grade. So, I mean, I tell that story to my own students, and they're like, what? Because these kids have a perception that teachers are straight A kids growing up.
Well, I mean, I was going
Oh.
to mention that too. I mean, the fact that you even got a degree, you even got a doctorate is
Mhm.
incredible. I mean, did you ever see that coming?
Um, it's always been a life goal of mine, just because of my one of my eighth grade teachers told me that I would be good for nothing. And that's when I kind of really lit that fire under my butt. And like, I'm going to prove you wrong. She was one of the first people that I wanted to prove wrong. There was many after her too. And I just went, I mean, I really struggled through high school. My parents helped me a lot. If it was not for them, I would not be where I am, who I am today, because they really took a lot of time to really help me. But I mean, they'll tell you, and I'll tell you that I didn't really blossom until I went to college because I think as I struggled so much through high school that I really had to learn how I learned, which I got like an audio tape in my mind. You know, some people they see something, they know it, I hear it, and I know it, which really irked a
Yeah.
lot of which really irked a lot of teachers because I would just sit there and, doodle or stuff and but I would get it.
You see, for me, I was like, get the fuck out of school. Like, I need to get out of here. I'm done. Like, no, the doctor could never even for me. Like,
Yeah.
not even
And
close. So
so
it's
I
that's a
always,
commemorative situation
yeah.
for sure.
I've always wanted to just keep going, and I love learning, so why not? I mean, once I got my undergrad, my bachelor's, in teaching, really the only reason you get more money is, education wise. So I got my undergrad, I got my master's, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to keep getting hours to recertify. So I was like, I don't just want to, I want it to count towards something. So I was like, you know what? Let's go for it and just get that title where, I can definitely go prove that teacher wrong. And actually, I emailed her once I got my doctorate and she apologized for what she had told me. And I find high respect in that of, my eighth grade teacher I had almost 20 years ago, where when I sent her that, I'm like, hey, just want to let you know that I have my doctorate now and I really want to thank you for telling me what you told me. It really, inspired me to keep going and prove you wrong. And she responded and apologized, and I was like, wow, that takes a lot. So that was something really cool to come out of, what.
Well, it's also ballsy for you to go ahead and
Oh yeah,
email her and be like, hey, listen, hey, look,
oh
show
yeah.
off your degree to her.
A lot of people are like, you did what? I was like, I had to let her know because I carried that with me from, 2008 when she told me that to 2024 when I finally got my doctorate degree. And I mean, I carried it with me and she needed to know and she did.
So I mean, obviously, it's fair to say, Asher is kind of like your main character. That's really you in the shoes of him in this book.
Yeah.
But was there any other characters in the book that kind of resonated with you?
So the group of boys that kind of mend together, so you have your five celestial different houses, if that's what you want to call them, the different bloodlines. Really, they factor into different personalities that I may have gone through or tried to be, or, different people in my life who maybe were good, maybe weren't good. The main anarchist, Antichrist, the son of Cain, is actually portrayed from my main bully from high school. So people may take offense, like, "Oh my gosh, that's about me." I'm like, "Well, the shoe fits." Be
I don't think they
careful how
want it to
you
be about them,
inspire
though. I mean,
authors,
I was listen. If I'm going to be somebody in a book, I hope it's not the bully. Okay, I hope I'm
right?
not portrayed as the bully. But listen, that if they're proud of that, they're proud of that. I guess.
Right. So, I mean, it's just the different characters bring in different aspects of what I've gone through in my life, or maybe of who I wanted to be, or just different struggles. I don't want to give too much away from my third book,
Of course.
but in St. Thomas Magic Academy, one of the characters, kind of goes rogue, goes to the dark side, if you want to call it that. But his character moving forward really has that power struggle of between good and bad. Like, where do I want to go? And that kind of just portrays into my life of, I could have done different things in my life to, get rid of the bullies, but I just wasn't that kind of person. I was, killing with kindness type of guy. But I always remember having those inner struggles. So really the different characters going through their own struggles of different things or, being the jock that I never was or really wanted to be. To the book nerd, to the theater kid, which was part of what I did too, in high school, which is another, outlet besides the book. So you have the book lover, which is that book lover out of me, the theater kid who, then teeters into the LGBTQ as well. And then obviously Asher is. going through all that. So
And also a fifth grade teacher too. I mean, you are also now teaching with your degree too. I
yeah.
mean, have you taken your teacher's job who you emailed?
So I mean, I just finished my ninth year of teaching. So within teaching, I've done my master's, done my doctorate,
Like, see,
wrote
how
my
great would
book.
that story be if, like, if not only you emailed her, like, hey, here's what I'm doing now, and then you email her also, like, oh, I'm also taking your job. Like,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, she knows I'm a teacher. She's known that for years. Um, so I mean, I decided in sixth grade that I wanted to be a teacher. So I mean, that's been my life. That's been my life dream for forever. And doing that is amazing. Just to share my story with my kids too. I mean, obviously on an appropriate level for fifth grade. I don't go into too much detail, but just, you know, telling them that it's okay to struggle, especially in this day of age. I mean, social media was something when I was young 20 years ago, but now it's even worse. But
mhm.
that, and then, these books, obviously, the persona of my books are more of, high school, middle school, high school, and beyond of just the content and stuff because I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I mean, that's not how life is. Um, I always say this is my one main talking point. I mean, obviously to my dissertation too, because I went into looking into bullying was my dissertation topic, but it's such a scary word of people don't want to talk about it. It's very sensitive and like, oh, you can't say that stuff. I'm like, I gotta be real. I mean, that's how things goes. I mean, we have people come in, murderers or drug addicts and DUI stuff come into schools to talk to these kids. So why can't we talk about bullying and things that people go through? It's mental awareness. So that's
And I think as
another.
a society, we're getting better at it.
Yeah,
We're getting a
we
lot better
really
at it than
have.
we were back in the day,
Yeah.
especially when we were both in school. I mean, for
Mhm.
sure, it's like it's a completely 180 now when it comes to talking really more open with about mental health and about
Mhm.
mental health awareness. And I'm glad you were able to survive that too, and be and and have a story to tell
Mhm.
that a lot of people are able to reflect on too and be able to read and pick up. And I'm also glad you're making another book too. When is that going to be
Yes.
released?
So the third book of the series, I'm planning, if all goes well, it to be in September, and it's called The Gospel of Truth. So it's really good. I'm actually gonna do my artwork release today.
So we're
which is
separating
funny.
ourselves kind of from the series then.
Well, it's the third book of the
Oh,
series.
it'll be the third book of the series.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So it's continuation from the second book.
Got it.
I leave it open-ended because everyone loves an open-ended book. So it's a continuation. That really moves in more into the depth of the characters and opening up more into that mental awareness and the struggles of all the different characters. And there's plot twists galore. It's a surprise on every page.
Well, I'm excited for people to check it out, and I'm excited for people to check out this new book. Obviously, that's out now, part of the series, part of the Asher Gray Chronicles, called St. Thomas Magic Academy. It's out now here on Amazon. Robert, where can people find you online?
I have a Facebook page. It's called Grey Chronicles. So I do have that. It just notified me that we've been on there for 1 year. So woo!
Woo!
So it's
Congratulations!
little. Thank you. I mean, people can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days, at rcastleberry259. It's more of not an author page. It's my personal, but I post on everything on there. So, books, cats, sports, we're there. Um, and then I have a website too that is on your press release. So you have that link.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, and the website is oh, actually, I don't think I
It's
actually have that link, but
author Robert Castleberry.
Robert, thank you.
Something with that.
Author Robert Castleberry. There it is. Okay,
Yes,
sorry about that. Author Robert Castleberry. You can check him out. AuthorRobertCastleberry.com is where you can go and check out more of your work. Robert, well, Dr. Robert, thank you so much for joining me here and on Global Book Network. And best of luck with everything, and best of luck with the series. And definitely come back when you have your next book. Love to talk to you more
definitely.
about it.
Of course.
Anytime. Awesome. Robert Castleberry. Again, the book is called St. Thomas Magic Academy. You can get it on Amazon and anywhere books are sold. You were listening here to globalbooknetwork.tv. I'm Zach Feldman. Thanks so much for tuning in here on globalbooknetwork.tv and on YouTube. And you check out all of our interviews here wherever you find our channel. We'll talk to you soon.